Hello, this is Sandy with Needs a Ribbon, and I'm bringing you another edition of Let's Kit Together. Tonight, we are going to do the December 2023 Paper Pumpkin monthly subscription kit called All the Best. And full disclosure, I am doing a voiceover as the original audio with the video did not record, and I will do my best to narrate. Um, It is unfortunate. I was using a new microphone and there's a learning curve and I didn't test, and that's on me. I am sorry. So let's get started opening our box. And she's just sitting there. This will be interesting. Yeah, let's open our box and get started. Come on, Sandy. Open the box. There we go. So let's take a look at the stamp set that came with the kit. Let's take a look. Come on. She blathers a lot, I think. Definitely blathering a lot tonight, or when the original recording date was. So let's take a look at that stamp set. Come on, bring it closer to the camera. And the ink spot that is included is come on. Let's take a better look at these. I think it's Pebbled Path. Let's not look at it then and put it back in the box. And okay. So, and let's not forget with our ink spots, they repeat only once every 12 months, they promised us. So we won't see Pebbled Path again, possibly in its lifetime, since it's an in color. So there's that. And let's open up and take a look at our kit. This is amusing to me too, to do a voiceover on something that I've already done, I gotta say. So if you need some entertainment, follow along, because I'm mildly amused. And yes, I save all my tissue paper. I am not kidding. It's silly, but I do. And don't forget, you can reuse your box. You can just fold them outside in and reuse them. I've used them for gifts. They're great. So let's open up our kit. And start taking a look at those instructions. And this kit makes, I think it's 6 cards total. Or is it 2 each of 3 or 2 each of 4? And it comes in a great box that you can gift the whole thing. And the colors, I can't read that and I can't hear her and I don't have the instructions. Um, so I'm not really sure, but I think it's Balmy Blue, Pebbled Path. I believe there was Crumb Cake. Uh, so I'm sorry about that. And that is unfortunate that. So the words in the set were hello friend, wishing you all the best. 1,000 good luck wishes and 4 nature floral type images. And it does indeed make 6 cards, excuse me, 8 cards. So, and those are our embellishment slash adhesive pack. And those are our envelopes, which are beautiful. And don't forget, you can use your envelopes for crafting. You could cut that flap off and use it for something else, or cut apart the front of that envelope and use that beautiful yellow flower image elsewhere. So don't be afraid to do that. There's no reason you have to use the envelopes that come with it. Think outside the box. That's part of what's so great about our kits that I love, is that there's other things you can do with them. And if you need inspiration, go to the Facebook Paper Pumpkin Fan Club page, or find that on Pinterest, which are places that people post their what they call alternates that they've done with the Paper Pumpkin kit. So I encourage you to do that. I like to think I don't do that because I like to, I teach you how to make the kit the, the instructional way, but I certainly call them a jumping off point to other things that you can do, as a beginning point. So on the back side of our instructions, the left side lists the colors and all the pieces in our kits. And so those are one set of card bases, beautiful with those dandelion, daisy, whatever thing they are. And again, that's also unusual in that it's printed, the entire one side is printed. So that isn't unusual and I like it. But again, thinking outside the box, you could make those into a box, speaking of which, or you can use them as a card base, or you could cut them up and just use them as paper as a layer on another card. Lots of ideas to be done with this particular kit. And here's another card base. It's kind of a balmy blue with white frame look. Again, a couple things you could do with that. So we have 3 different styles of card bases in here. That's wonderful. So remember, when I do my kit togethers, I only make one of each, whatever the items are. So grab your 3 different card bases and we'll start making our piles for this project. And there's our acetate box. I'm excited to see these back. It was an item that was around for a lot of catalog cycles, and they retired it. And we've had it in 2 sizes, and there's some fun that can be had with those boxes too. But for this, we're going to use it to store our cards in. And then there's the belly band that came with it. So let's go ahead and remember, all our kits, our Paper Pumpkin kits, because they're only made in the US, always have a ruler on one side, and ours are in the imperial, but our other kits, the ruler comes in imperial and metric. So let's go ahead and get started on that first card. We're using the one with the kind of scenic horizon with the little flowers on it, and we need one of those square gold framed pieces. Punch those out. Punch out your little gold flower. We'll need one of those for this first card. We'll need some of the yellow flowers. These really are more like dandelions, aren't they? I'm not really sure. Again, I'm doing a voiceover after and without the kit in front of me. So punch out one of the largest flowers. That will go with And we'll need so we're still making our piles. We'll need the gold edged rectangle for the other card, and the 2 yellow flower half circle U-shaped thing. We'll need 2 of those for one card. And a single yellow flower for the one with the daisy field or yellow flower field card base. So yeah, it just shows what to make your piles. And if you have the kit, you have the instructions. I'm just here to help guide and help you interpret those instructions. And don't forget to grab a stamping block. Your very first paper pumpkin kit will come with a stamping block. And feel free to use the paper pumpkin stamping block or a stamping block of your choice, but you will need a block to mount your photopolymer stamp on. And I like to lay my stamp so the stamp side is down on my grid paper, and the part that you attach your block face up, and use the grid to line it up so we know that it's square on the block. It just makes for easier stamping. And here I am in my weekly attempt to slice open my hand trying to get those stamping spots open. I struggle so with this. I don't know why. I don't hear others doing that. I think it's just a Sandy thing. So far I don't see any blood, so that's good. And I'm trimming off a little bit of the lid closure paper. And I like to snip off my lid. It just makes it easier to use. I didn't used to, but that's something in more recent years I've started doing. Um, and I'm prepping my stamp. If you remember, you take your photopolymer stamp and kind of tap it or rub it on the back of your hand, not the palm of your hand where it's just dirty and greasy, but on the back of your hand where you have a little bit of oil naturally, and that helps with that the process how they make the photopolymer. There's a finish on them, helps de-stick them, and then you can test that. Yep, by tapping on your paper, and if it doesn't make a stick sound, then it's prepped. And now we want to ink up our image. Sometimes I do a test, sometimes I don't. So we're going to stamp on that square gold foil edged piece. With the all the best. And remember, you'll have to repeat the steps for however many that you're going to make per the kit. And next up we need to, I like to do all my stamping ahead. I just find it's easier. That way it can dry because this isn't cardstock paper, it's more like printed paper and it has a finish. And it does take a few extra seconds to dry. So we want to grab our rectangle gold edged pennant piece that has a notched edge and make sure that it's facing the correct way and ink up our 1,000 good luck wishes stamp now in our Pebble Path ink and stamp that on that piece. And again, make sure you are prepping your stamp first use. Another way you can prep them is to wash them, scrub them on our stamp scrubber. Some people like to rub them on their jeans. I don't always wear jeans, and that means I'm probably going to leave lint behind. So that's a method I've never done. Um, there are several ways. I like the back of the hand method because it does seem to work every time successfully. And since I started doing that a few years ago, I've not had any problems. And don't forget also to, if you're concerned about thoroughly catching all of your stamp image, you can use our gray foam mat behind to stamp on because that has a little give where photopolymer does not. So let's get our next stamp ready. And we're going to use the white circle with the gold edge. And we're going to stamp Hello Friend. So we're going to might as well line up the Hello Friend on your grid paper if you use grid paper. If you don't, that's okay. That is not a must have. It does help though. And at the low cost of grid paper, and you can keep using it and keep using it until it just gets really mucky. It is worth the cost I'd say, to keep some grid paper around. Plus, I like to write notes on it, and there's a lot of things I use that grid paper for when I'm crafting. But I'll often use it for several projects till it either gets too dirty. There's Hello Friend, and we'll set that aside to dry. But yes, I'll use the grid paper for several projects until I've either covered it with notes or made it completely filthy and ink or adhesive is starting to transfer. Um, so at 11 to 12 cents a sheet, worth it. So we need to grab our adhesive. So we'll need probably dimensionals and glue dots. And there's a roll of tear and tape that came with. That will be to attach the belly band to our acetate box. So we want to flip over our greeting label, and we're going to add dimensionals to the back. 4 dimensionals in each corner on the back side of our greeting label. And we'll need to grab our flowers and flip them over. And we'll have to put a dimensional, 1 dimensional behind our yellow flower. And make sure you are putting the dimensionals on the back side. And so my little tip from me to you to get a really good crease is to fold your card base inside out and then outside in, and then if it still isn't laying flat, burnish it with a bone folder. Not necessary to own a bone folder. I've used the edge of a block. Um, I've also used the edge of a scissor with the cover on. Um, but you see how flat it's laying now? It does make working on it very easy because then you've got a completely flat surface to work on. So now we want to go ahead and take our dimensional backs off of our greeting, our all the best greeting, and center it right to left and put it about an inch from the top, something like that. Make sure it's square. I'm going to take the dimensional back off of our yellow flower, our single stem. I'm going to put that in the lower left corner of our all the best greeting. And we want to add a glue dot behind our small gold flower and layer that over our yellow single stem flower. Now we want to add some gems. And sometimes I use scissors to take them off. Take your pick tool, your fingers, especially if you have long fingernails, can be really helpful. But it looks like we're only adding 2 gems to this, no, 3 gems to this first card. So let's move on to card 2. Bring in those supplies. And this is the one that has the like balmy blue ombre background for a card base. And a pre-printed card layer. And our gold banded stamped 1,000 good luck wishes. So we're going to use tear and tape to attach our card layer. And the card layer looks like it's about 3 by 4. So let's do our little fold trick with the card base. Fold it inside out and then outside in. And then if it still needs a little burnishing, use our bone folder. And make sure that your card is facing the correct direction and opens on the correct side. They have it going from darker blue to lighter blue. I misassembled mine here, and that's okay. I actually really like it. I did the darker blue on top to the lighter blue on the bottom, and the sample has it on the darker blue on the bottom to the lighter blue on top. So in other words, as it fades into the sky. And that's okay, both ways are fine. Just make sure your card opens on the correct side so your fold is on the left. And so let's put 4 dimensionals on the back side of our greeting. And we're going to put a dimensional behind our flower. And this one uses the big yellow, the single yellow stem. These really do look like dandelions. So once we've attached our card layer, we can take the dimensional off the back of our big yellow flower and take the dimensionals off of our greeting and place the big yellow flower just right at the center of the card and our greeting toward the bottom, positioning it so it's centered kind of over the stem of our yellow flower. And we'll need 5 gems for this card, or whatever you desire. Instructions say 5 though. 2 large, 3 small gems. They really do add something, don't they, to the project? Those little bit of gems. What a pretty card. You could even take some of the images, the other stamps, and stamp the inside of your card with them with the Pebbled Path ink if you wanted to fill in the card. For those that are intimidated to write a whole card, I don't have a problem. I never have filling the inside of a card, but for those that are intimidated by that, I recommend filling it up. So let's do a little card base trick here. Inside out, outside in, and do a little burnish to the bone folder if we need. And take our greeting and flip it over. We'll need to add some dimensionals to the back side of our circular greeting with the gold foil edge. Oh, we're going to use tear and tape. Okay. So use tear and tape. 2 strips, top and bottom. And then for this one, we want to have 2 of those kind of half circle 2 flower pieces. Flip them image side down on your paper. And we're going to use dimensionals to put on the back. So grab your dimensionals. So 3 or 4 dimensionals on the back of each of those half circle flower groups. And now we want to go ahead and peel off the backing on our sticky strip on our greeting. We're going to put that in the middle of that beautiful, and don't forget, this is a horizontal or a landscape oriented card. You certainly could turn it the other way. That's personal choice, but I'm going to be putting it together by the instructions, so that means it's a landscape card. And don't forget, you'll have to repeat all these steps. So we put 1 in the upper right corner, so that center flower on that flower group is kind of in the upper right corner. After you've released your dimensional backing, press it down and then do the same for the other flower group and put the big flower in the middle of, or in the lower left corner. Or however you want. I'm just going by the instructions. It really is a pretty card. And so for this one, we will also need 5 gems. 2 large and 3 small of the gems. You put 1 large of each of the gems on those bigger yellow flowers, those kind of corner markers, somewhere on there, and then however you want to put the other 3 smaller gems. It really is a very pretty card. So simple in design. So we have yet to put our box together. So we'll have to grab our box, grab a flower, the one you have left, and our belly band. And before you start assembling, I would kind of partially assemble your box and, fold it in multiple ways. It's just going to make it easier, like I'm doing here. You're basically just burnishing the box in the opposite direction of which it's shipped in. Fold in your little corners, your little flaps. And I like to take, especially with these acetate boxes, I like to take the flaps and fold them the opposite direction. Again, you're just kind of, that acetate gets so stiff. Fold it in the opposite direction and then refold them back the normal way. I was a little off camera here. I didn't know the whole thing was just a little off. Sorry about that. So yeah, I want to kind of put your box together. And the belly band is going to go around the short sides or the narrow width of the box. So you want to pre-bend it around the box just to burnish those edges a little bit. And I lost my tear and tape. I see it. Can you see it? I see my tear and tape. There's the tear and tape. Or do we use, so there's some little glue dots. We'll have to see what she does. And she is me. Haha. I believe I used tear and tape though. So one little tip that I've learned over the years is to put a piece of tear and tape on the edge that's going to overlay, and then put another piece over that inner edge that faces up. It's very secure. You don't have to, but it does really make it fairly secure. So you want to release the backing and just squeeze that on. So the belly band is meant to slide off. You could take a little tear and tape and stick a little piece under there. and put dimensional underneath the flower. Um, but yeah, you could take a little piece of tear and tape and stick that underneath the belly band if you don't want it to be able to slide off. It's a personal choice. Some people don't like that adhesive showing. It really doesn't show because the belly band goes all the way around the box. That's just an idea. So let's see what this kit looks like. So yeah, let's put our little projects in our box and see what it looks like. I like to stick the flap on the inside of my card when I do put these together. I just think when someone opens it, it just has a really professional finished look. And so that's what I'm doing here. And really, honestly, this kit was pretty darn easy to put together. There's not a whole lot of steps, honestly. You're just stamping greetings. If you put it together the way it came, you're just stamping greetings, a little bit of adhesive, pretty much it. So yeah, get your projects in there. Let's take a look at what it looks like. If you're going to gift it, if you're going to use it, that's a whole different matter. Maybe if you are going to use it for yourself, you don't want to put that belly band on, you could use that on a card or a different project. And you could use the box for something else. Very cute though. One thing old school, I used to cut the boxes in half and then you make like a paper liner for them that kind of folds over and you can stick them full of candy. It was a great treat idea back in the day. Those acetate boxes. Anyway, that was the December 2023 paper pumpkin kit. All the best. And now we have this great stamp set that we can use for other things. And I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Let's Kit Together. And this beautiful kit. I'm sorry I had to do a voiceover, but it happens, especially when you're dealing with new technology. We'll see you soon.